Hey guys, it's my sassy new intro for the Mount Rushmore podcast. What's up? My name's Jeff. I'm joined as always by my good friends Richardo.
Yep.
And Miguel.
Howdy. I love Richardo.
It's not
man. How did we ever not get there in
Richardo.
the last decade and a half of friendship, huh?
Yeah,
Richardo.
well, it always comes back to this at some point.
The waning hours and days and weeks of the year, things are getting darker. Even though we've fell back, it's still days are getting shorter, nights are getting longer. And what does that mean? It's the end of the year. And what does that mean after the end of the year? The beginning of the next one. And
All right.
you see where I'm going with this. This is the Mount Rushmore of January. Who picked it? I did. Oh my God. Okay.
I dug into the archives of the ideas as we were like floundering, trying to figure out what are we going to record, and then it's like, okay.
Wow. Well, I have a birthday at the end of December, and I know I always contemplate my life changes and things like that, and those are even more amplified and mitigated by January 1st and the things that the new year makes you feel like you should be doing or thinking about. So that's one of the reasons I thought about that. But I want to hear what you guys think about it. So the Mount Rushmore of January, and we're going to start with Michael.
Okay. I'm going to step on Richard's toes a little bit.
Ouch.
Oh, wow.
And I'm going to choose college bowl games.
I have January 1 on here, and I have college football as part of January 1. So
Yeah.
I think we're in the same ballpark.
I'm not a big college football guy. I don't follow it. I don't have a college team that I've been rooting for.
I mean, UC Santa Barbara Gaucho football team,
The
which
Gaucho
doesn't
football
exist.
team. They're really close to getting helmets and pads.
Nice.
I think we have a mule that can kick field goals, or at least do underwater basket weaving or whatever it is.
You guys have
or
those...
whatever the hokiest class that you can take. That's a joke that has been ever told about UCSB.
Do they have those mesh jerseys, those ones that you'd get in PE, to make sure that you know what team is which?
Yeah. So I don't have the team that I'm rooting for, and I'm kind of constantly annoyed throughout the year when I know there's one friend that is a big I don't know, Michigan fan.
Yeah.
Oh my God, how the hell is everything Michigan for this guy's life?
Yeah.
I don't know this person's name off the top of my head, but I can see them just wearing Spartan green. No, what am I
blue.
thinking? Michigan State.
Yeah, your Michigan State's green.
That's the one. Well, whatever.
That's how little you care about college football.
It's annoying. But I like that there kind of was this one day, and I'm going to say was because it doesn't feel like it exists quite the same way anymore, where they'd have a dozen bowl games, and it was the big ones. It was the Fiesta Bowl and the Rose Bowl and the I don't know. Richard can name the rest of them. Obviously, I don't care that much.
The Poulin Weed Eater Bowl?
Yeah, and then they started all getting kind of commercialized a little bit more, where they were sponsored by someone or another. And now there's just way too many, which is now back to being angry about it again. But I like that there was this one day where it was it's college football. It's not quite the Super Bowl, but you have so many mini little Super Bowls happening all day long on the same day. That's so important for this one kind of regional fan base, or the people that went to the school, or even not even the people that went to the school, but the kids of the people that went to the school, and all it's very generational. And I like that it's an entire day that's okay, and then we're done with it. Mm-hmm. I don't like the college football playoff system where oh God, the championship's now a week later.
Because they have the playoff.
I'm annoyed by that too. Oh. I want it all to be on one day, and then it's just done.
Michael Winfield, college football purist, even though he doesn't really like college.
You want
That's
everything
right.
to be like the kickball tournament.
Yeah. It should. I like that things used to happen on one day, and then it was all just done. And you knew by the end of it that it was done.
I wish kickball would have had a bowl game field or system to it, at the end of the year, instead of playing a championship game. We would have, the Ninjas just would have played Uno Mas.
Yeah.
And then call it the Pat Muha Bowl or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That would have been great.
The Uptown Diner Bowl or the...
Yeah, NoHo Diner Bowl.
The North Hollywood Diner presents...
Yeah.
The Chili Bowl. I'm good with that too.
Yeah, I chose January 1st partially because it's a day of rest and recovery. If you've been celebrating a little hard on New Year's Eve, which I haven't done in several years now, just once you have kids, it's more a night to kind of stay home and curse out your neighbors who are shooting fireworks up into the air. And then once you wake up on January 1st, about 9 or 10, that's right when the college bowl games are starting.
Yeah.
And you've just got wall-to-wall football, and it's because it's New Year's Day. It's one of those rare days out of the year where I can justify, I just want to watch college football today.
Yeah.
And, my wife won't get too upset about that. But I love the concept of bowl games. I love the idea that two teams from different parts of the country will go to another part of the country instead of just having it at somebody's home stadium.
Yeah.
It just feels so ill-conceived, and I think that's part of what the beauty is of it. So I being the college football fan out of in the show, it's really like Michael said, at one time there was something a little bit more special about January 1. That was the one day when all the major bowls were happening, and you would have the kind of smaller bowls that kind of led up to this one day. It's kind of been, with the national championship game and bowl games being played on different, the second, the fourth, and all this stuff. It kind of takes a little bit of the specialness out of it, but it's still a big day for me.
Yeah.
What is different about the college game? Philosophically, these people they're not professionals.
No, they're worse at it. They're worse at playing the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're smaller. They're never going to make it to the NFL. They're this could be the end of the career. By the time you get to the bowl, right? Is it kind of mostly over? Is that what?
Yeah, it's the end of the season. It's like your reward for a good season is you get to go to a bowl game.
Okay. So there's kids there that they're going to hang up their pads and never do anything.
I love it. I love college football for several reasons. One of them is because, yes, the players on a whole aren't nearly as good as the NFL players. That's what they're aspiring to be. And I think that sort of wildly, the kind of rawness of the players and the fact that they're not fully formed yet, fully developed into these incredible superstars. It creates chaos is what it creates. It's much more likely that weird things are going to happen during a college football game or during a college football season. There's a lot more. I mean, in the NFL,
I can appreciate that. Yeah,
in the NFL, if a 3-5 team is playing a 6-1 team, you know who is going to win 99% of the time. The possibility of a team upsetting another team is just a lot less because these are all players that playing at the top of their abilities. So it's not like
wait.
The odds in NFL.
In NFL, I'd say it's the opposite because I think
so?
the teams are a lot more on par with each other in spite of having a bad quarterback. I think in that, how many times does who's the best team in college football right now?
That would be Georgia.
How often would Georgia be playing another team and aren't the teams that go to the championships, aren't they usually 11-0, 12-0? Don't they have these monumentally intact records? I mean, for the majority of the season, don't they? Isn't all four teams that make it into the playoffs, aren't they all 11-0 or
12 or 11-1 usually? It's rare that there's. I guess my point is, it feels like more of an event when there is an upset versus the NFL where unless it's the Lions.
Yeah,
I mean, we're recording, the Tennessee Titans are whomping on the Rams. Spoiler alert, and that's an upset. But nobody's really going, oh my God, I can't believe the Titans are beating the Rams. And I think the other part of it is very much a cultural thing.
Yeah.
I love the fact that that college fans are so passionate about it. Not that NFL fans aren't passionate about it, but it's just a different type of passion, I think, that you see. And, I love the fact that there's 120 teams. There's always, if I'm watching on a Saturday afternoon, there's chances there's one or two really good games happening at any one time. There are times in the NFL where I turn on the TV and it's just nothing but clunkers.
Yeah.
So that happens.
All right. So then it's going to be Richard with his second choice.
Michael. Oh, no, I guess you're working. Okay,
yeah, because we're kind of working off that. Yeah. My second choice are New Year's resolutions.
Okay.
Things that are started on January 1st and usually fall apart by January 8th.
Yeah.
Something like that. I've made them before. Usually it has to do with working out. Usually it lasts a couple of months. And then it just sort of trails off into nothingness. And I know the fact that, anyone who goes to a gym regularly throughout the year is like, oh, great. Here comes all the New Year's resolution, guys. Jeff, I don't know if this happens when CrossFit, if you get people showing up on January 1st and you don't see them after February. I don't know if that happens.
Yeah, we're actually, my gym is so poorly attended. We're all happy to see those people. It's not like they're on the treadmill that I want or anything like that. But
True.
I've been in that situation. Yeah.
And, maybe it's eating better. Maybe it's, like I said, exercising. Maybe it's, I'm going to cut down on the booze or whatever it happens to be. And it's like, I don't know, there's just something artificial about January 1. I mean, it's an artificial deadline, or it's an artificial reason to start.
Date, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could start working out tomorrow, but I'm not going to. But there's more of a chance that I'm going to on January 1st because I'm making this big deal about it being a New Year's resolution.
Mm-hmm. I'm fascinated with those. Like, what is it about? Obviously, the number changed, and we kind of think that we can leave it all behind us. I think something other than that year flipping over and the calendar flipping over. There's something about the darkness of the coldest month, and then stepping out of that into something new.
This one kind of leads into my second pick, which January, and I got a lot of help from Emily on this. January is kind of a month of self-care.
Oh,
where you have spent the last month or two so focused on maybe Christmas and family and, travel, going to someplace else, or spending a bunch of money on somebody else, or, generally speaking, you're wrapped up in like the, quote unquote holiday season that starts really right now, or at least kind of starts like right after Halloween. And then January happens and there's nothing. Like the only thing that happens is kind of like, all right, well, all that stuff is behind me. What do I have? I got maybe some gift cards that I got for Christmas that I could spend on myself for the first time. I have these resolutions, these resolutions that are for me. I'm making them for me. So it's kind of like this month where you're like, okay, the last year we're putting it behind us. All the mishigosh with family is like, I don't have to think about what, Aunt Karen is, do you like the sweater or not? She either liked it or she took it back or not.
Yeah.
She's exercising her own self-care and returning the sweater to get something she actually wants. But that's not my worry. I'm not going to ask her again. And like January is so like, so kind of cold and bleak, and like you could only focus on yourself.
Yeah.
Like the holiday lights are all turned off. You got almost 2 months before you're like celebrating, month and a half before you're celebrating Valentine's Day or whatever.
Right. So you got this like little gap.
There's this gap of a breather, and it's just like, okay, I'm going to look inward, and maybe I'm going to use this Chili's gift card.
It does seem like I forgot about all the obligatory indulgence of the meals and things of the holidays and food and drink stuff.
Going back to like your thing, that's kind of like it kickstarts it all. It's like you've been sitting around eating like fruitcake and boxes of See's candy and drinking wine all the time and champagne, and you just got over like this. Now you're sitting on the couch watching college football, and then you're like, I'll go to the gym tomorrow.
Yeah.
This is it.
This is it.
Did it.
This is the one.
I know in the Midwest, it's too cold to start jogging. It's just frozen outside, so you ain't gonna start that.
Yeah, no, and no one ever says, you know what? I don't need a New Year's resolution this year. Everything's good.
Yeah.
Like that is never a
an evaluation.
An evaluation that somebody makes. Yeah, it's always what was shitty about last year and what can I do to correct it. So it's almost like getting your year-end review at work, where it's like, even if it's a good review, there's still, here's some things that we think you could work on for this year.
Imagine that on Santa's list. where he just gives you the things that like you got to get better on.
Yeah.
I didn't get you that toy train. I got you. Remember how like you said you were going to only eat 3 chocolate chip cookies, but you really always eat 7. Then you tell yourself you only ate 4 and you're lying to yourself. Let's fix that cookie gap.
Santa, you're a jerk, Santa. So is it self-care? January self-care?
Yeah, like a month of self-care.
Okay, a month of self-care.
Before it all falls to pieces.
Yeah.
You know, because by February,
it's over.
Yeah.
This is our halftime, and we're going to ask you to go out and give the gift of the Mount Rushmore podcast. It's the best gift, really. You won't gain weight. If somebody gave you a box of seed candies, you're going to gain weight. You could eat all of the Mount Rushmore podcast, and you're not going to gain an ounce.
Your ears get bigger, though.
Oh, yeah, and your brain gets packed.
Packed with all that knowledge.
All these opinions of white men.
Yeah, we need more of those.
Need more of those, yeah. So do us a solid and go out and listen, maybe rate and review it. We'd appreciate it. All right, so we are going to be back, and now it's going to be Richard, which is his third January thing.
My third January thing is Martin Luther King Day.
Okay.
And a couple of things about Martin Luther King Day. A, it's one of those holidays that not everybody gets off, which is always frustrating if you're the person who doesn't get it off, which was me for pretty much most of my working life, versus my wife, Sarah, who works in academia, the academic, or at least somewhat academic, in an academic setting, let's put it that way, where they get pretty much every major holiday off. So, and every year she would be surprised with like, oh, you don't get it off? It's like, I've never gotten it off. And you say this every year. Thanks for making me feel like shit. But the other thing I want to talk about was the fact that Martin Luther King Day was a very controversial thing when it first started, and several states don't really celebrate it the right way, is what I would say. It actually was started to be proposed in the 60s, but it wasn't until, I think it was 1983, when Ronald Reagan made it a national federal holiday. And he basically did that to try and shore up his standing with the black community, because he had actually opposed it before that because he didn't want to give federal workers another paid holiday off.
Great guy.
Yeah, real good guy. Real stand-up motherfucker. Oh, don't get me started on Reagan. But I know I remember when I was growing up, I was like in high school, there was a big thing about Arizona not passing Martin Luther King Day. Like, they didn't have Martin Luther King Day as a holiday until like 92 or 93. And there were a bunch of like media boycotts. They wound up losing the hosting of the Super Bowl one year because of it. And that's basically what got them to finally make Martin Luther King Day a thing.
Oh, is that right? What a bunch of douche nozzles.
Yeah. Oh, you want to hear about douche nozzles?
Okay.
Let's talk about Idaho.
Oh, yeah.
What they have, they started in 1990. It's called Martin Luther King Jr. Idaho Human Rights Day. Because they eventually, that was a compromise for people who didn't want to have a holiday commemorating Martin Luther King because he was too much of a radical.
Wow.
In Alabama and Mississippi, they celebrate a King Lee Day, which is a combination of Martin Luther King and Robert E. Lee.
Oh, God.
Which, if you can't see where the cognitive dissonance is with that pairing, I don't know what to tell you. Virginia even has a Lee Jackson King Day, which also includes Stonewall Jackson.
Wow. So,
depending on where you're listening to this, what part of the country that you're listening to this in, just be grateful you're not in a place. I don't know that I haven't looked at our download numbers from Alabama or Mississippi or Virginia or Idaho recently, but I think it's pretty low. So I think it's safe to say be glad that you're not in one of these backwater states that is to this day so afraid of Martin Luther King and what he stood for and the things that he did to try and enact change that they refuse to give him his own day.
Yeah, are we liberal Hollywood literati?
Love it.
You know, these
so good to be here.
Yeah, bleeding heart Angelino liberals. What are we missing about that? Do you think is there something like part of this dyed-in-the-wool history that is just so painful for them to kind of give a day away or something like that? I don't get it.
Yeah, I think it's just because, look, when it first,
racism.
It's racism. It's Republicans.
It's Wait a second.
I mean, I don't know what else how else to say this. It's Republicans.
One
It's
word.
racism.
Yeah.
It's pretty. I think it's pretty straightforward, actually.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was suspecting, but it's like, is there something else,
I'm very generous of you.
Okay, all right. This whole thing, it's like, after all this shit, I don't know, we all have to be in one United States again.
Right.
And if people are just going to label every person who doesn't have the same belief system to the T as a racist, like, well, then there's no real dialogue, But I can infer a racist motivation for not being able to give a guy his day. If somebody were to say, well, these other people deserved a day too, I would say they don't, because they're fucking racist.
Right.
But they don't deserve. Why that day?
Yeah.
Give them a different fucking day, because MLK gets that day. So.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense, and it's just this idea that there's still pockets of this country where Martin Luther King is associated with, let's face it, segregation, which not everyone, even to this day, supports, or he advocated for with the redistribution of wealth, which is something that a lot of people, that's communism.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's not communism. That's how taxes actually work to some extent. So why are we getting so up in arms over this? It's just, we want to think that the 60s is ancient history, and it's not.
No.
It's still within, the people who were yelling at kids who wanted to go to school in Arkansas are still alive.
Yeah. Okay, well, what is your third, Michael Winfield?
My third. Boy, it's nowhere near that.
Sorry to bring everything down, guys.
No, it's fine. It is, it's like that the first 2 or 3 weeks of January, where, you keep writing, the wrong year on everything.
Nice.
Where you're like, I just can't get through. I'm just writing, 112, 21. Fuck. 112, 22.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what's coming up. January is this month of just kind of retrying to figure out what year you're in. And I think that, we're at the tail end of 2021, and it feels like we just started 2020 in terms of COVID and the pandemic and the election, everything. These last 2 years, I don't know if anything has felt faster in my life.
Yeah.
I think, the 9 to 10 months that we were pregnant with Felix, that went by at times really fast and then really slow. But this last 2 years, I can't believe we're almost in fucking January 2022. And I got to learn how to keep typing that on the forms that I'm filling out for my employer, into dates for different things for while I'm working. And and it happens every year.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing for the first, it's 2 to 3 weeks where I'm just I don't get it.
I started writing a check January 19th. Or January 6th, 19. I started writing 19, and it was in front of somebody, and they looked at me like, "Sir, that's another century. That's the last century. It's been not that century for. It was 2007. It was 17 years. It's not been that century. Okay, right in the wrong year.
And it just happens, and it's just one of those things where it's just oh yeah, I forgot where there's a thing that's clicked over.
It got the name changed. It's just the year. The world's name changed from the one year to another.
They need to hand out the glasses.
Yeah,
the numbers on them to everybody.
Right, the ones that we talked about on the
everyone just
Y2K.
Gets one.
Yeah.
So you have to wear them for a few weeks. So when you look in the mirror, whether you have bad vision or not, you could have them just for fun.
Yeah,
you can get a prescription.
But the guy, you still got to put them on the right. So if it was a yearly thing, then you'd have dozens of those pairs of glasses. And if you're a guy who can't remember the year, you're going to put the
1975 is coming on.
The 2000.
You look like the Piano Man,
All right, man, Freddie, your last. This is it.
My last one. And there are lots of national days and weeks and months. There's one I'd like to talk about that happens in January, because January is National Soup Month.
That's what it is?
And it makes
the whole month.
And it makes sense because January is the coldest month of the year.
Yeah. I can't believe that Big Soup got to you too.
Oh man, Campbell's. I've just sold my soul to Campbell's.
Wow.
And so it makes sense that that's when you're eating soup. I mean, you don't eat a lot of soup in July.
No.
But winter months, it's cold.
Yeah.
Sometimes for lunch, just want to have a bowl of chicken noodle soup or something like that. Just crank it open.
Yeah.
And I'm taking this as a reminder, and here is my early New Year's resolution. I am going to eat more soup this year.
I want a text message from you every time you eat soup, and I'm going to write it down, and I'm going to make a little chart.
Okay.
Soup chart.
So we're going to get it the soup drive. Drive for soup supremacy.
Oh, you're going to get in a pool with a bunch of people who are all betting how much soup they can eat.
Right.
Everybody puts $20 in, and then you do this little check-in at the end,
and we need a picture of you with a can with the serrated edge that's opened, and you just finishing off a can of soup.
Yeah.
My only problem is.
Here he is. He's going to start.
I'm going to start backtracking. I'm backtracking already off of it. My favorite soup.
Is cereal. Is cereal a soup?
What about
it's in liquid.
What about not with us.
What about stews? What about stews?
Well, no, that's for National Stew Month.
Oh.
No, my favorite soup is French onion. And that's not exactly something you're just going to get out of a can and throw in the microwave and heat up for 45 seconds.
Right.
So if I'm going to do this right, I'm going to have to put some work into it. But I think it's worth it because, damn it, soup is hearty. It's filling. It's cheap. There's no reason why I shouldn't eat more soup. So let's do this.
Who knew the hottest take would be soup?
Who knew?
Soup is.
Do you eat a lot of soup, Michael?
Not as much as I probably should. Felix does. He loves a big can of just chicken noodle soup.
Soup is eating soup is like playing cards. I tell myself when I'm in the last 2 decades of my life, it's all I'm going to be able to eat or do. So I'm going to just chew hard food while I can. So I'm not going to soup. I'm not going to be souping it up.
We are fond of a nice tomato soup with grilled cheese.
With grilled cheese, that's good.
It's just a perfect little meal.
Yeah.
It makes you feel like a kid. But you can make it kind of a little bit fancier.
See, though, then you're eating grilled cheese and you're dipping.
No, I get it.
All right.
I'm not saying I'm not.
Well, that's why soup
we're not,
is
we're not
versatile.
getting into the Kenny Banya is soup a meal sort of discussion. I don't care about that. But I just like a tomato soup. And it tastes good with a little bit of cheese.
Okay. All right. Okay. Soup. National Soup
Day.
Month.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Winfield.
My last one is the Rose Parade.
Oh yeah.
I love the Rose Parade. I think it's because it is very Los Angeles.
Yeah.
It is the one thing. They had the Hollywood Christmas Parade. I could care less about that fat man rolling down at the end of the Hollywood Christmas Parade. It doesn't feel special. It feels every town has a Christmas parade.
But is every town's Christmas parade hosted by Eric Estrada?
Yeah.
You know what?
I mean, you can't prove that it's not, but...
But I love the Rose Parade. I think there's something weirdly special about how it happens so early in the morning, how people line up for it, and since it's here in California, it's different than whatever happens with Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, where that seems just brutal and freezing. And I just think, God, the suckers that are just on the street to watch these gigantic balloons of Snoopy roll by. I'm sure it's special to the people of New York.
Negative 20 with the wind chill.
It seems awful. If you're in Pasadena and it's the morning of New Year's Day, it's what, maybe
58?
Yeah.
60?
You're fine. I mean, if you're there a little bit early, it's in the 40s, but you're fine.
You know what you do? You bring a thermos full of soup.
There you go.
Warm you right up.
But I've always loved the parade. I think I love just the aspects of the design of it. The nonsensical commentary by the people that used to work at Stater Brothers, Stater Brothers commercials, and how they would list every type of flower and seed and whatever. And they've over the years they've gotten very loose with the definitions of what they put on there. It was used to be just it was all chrysanthemums and roses and lilies and all this stuff, and now it's seeds. and like multicolored. Just it feels like I think you guys are cheating a little bit.
Yeah.
You know it.
Yeah,
you're getting through it, but like they have a competition every year for all these different types of prizes and they're like the most whimsicals, all these different things, and all these local bands come out and like marching bands, local high schools, and like the Rose Bowl, marching bands come out, and there's the Tournament of Roses. Whoever it is, what's the person? Not the chairman or the chairperson.
You mean the queen?
Yeah,
the Rose Queen?
No, there's like a head honcho dude, or
he's like the chairman.
He's in the car.
I think he's the chairman.
The Grand Wizard,
Grand Marshal.
The Marshal, thank you. Not the Grand Wizard.
That's in the South. That's King Lee Day. They have that. Yeah.
You don't need that guy riding down in like a drop top Chevy or whatever. But I don't know. It's just one of those parades that feels like, oh, this is my hometown parade.
Yeah.
And I love that it's on repeat starting at 10 a.m. again.
Oh yeah.
That's the best.
It seems kind of big and small at the same time. Like it's quaint. At the same time, it's actually got national, observation.
Have you ever been to a Rose Parade?
I have not.
I went once. I think through Sarah's work, I wound up getting tickets. And this was before Simon was born, so I took Vivian with us, and it was great. Show up we had bleacher seats, so we didn't have to get there like the night before and camp out or anything for a good seat. So we got there about an hour early, and there's all the floats, and they look great up in person. And then one of the best things you can do, and I have not done this, but what I've been told is you can go to like the big park in Pasadena, and you take a tour and walk around all the floats that are there after the parade for like the next couple of weeks, at least next week, I think. So that sounds like a fun thing to do.
Okay, guys, great choices. Let's rank them and rate them, and we're going to start with MLK Day because hell yes. And then we're going to go with the January 1st college football, and then I don't know. I feel myself wooed by soup, but I don't like. It's just warm. It's savory.
It's a good choice.
I'm not gonna weaken. No,
he's not gonna fall for it.
Because when Richard starts doing this influencer thing and getting this side hustle going, like getting paychecks.
You guys are gone. By the way,
yeah.
as soon as the folks at Lip or whoever Campbell's come after me. You guys,
Richard heads out to like one of those murals like in L.A. and stands in front of like the big multicolored wings with a can of soup.
Yeah.
Just right. Label out.
The angel wings.
Even like the soup spread on his cheeks and his face. And it's like, this is what makes me look the way I look.
I am checking right now to see if thesoupguy.com is taken.
Okay, no. So far, no soup's not on it. So, gonna go with self-care because I think that's something that we could all have a good reminder about, and maybe in opposition to actually a resolution. Self-care, like decide how are you going to give yourself a break, not basically say I'm broken and I need to be fixed.
All right, you need one more.
So while you're debating, I would like to point out that thesoupguy.com is currently available for purchase for the low price of $2,895.
Well, how much did you get from Ralston Purina, or whoever's putting out the line of ill manufactured soups? 2,000 enough to cover that?
I don't know.
Okay. Is it based on hits of this podcast? Because if so, you're not going to get any money.
Yeah, I'm kind of in trouble if that's the case.
Okay, then let's go with Rose Parade.
All
right. No soup.
No soup for you?
No soup for you. This has been the Mount Rushmore of Yabadoo Badoo. I, as always, am Jeff.
I'm Richard.
I'm Michael.
Yabadoo Badoo Badoo.
Yabadoo Badoo.